Hey everybody, I'm Carrie.
I'm Maddie.
Welcome back to Book Club.
Hi everybody.
Welcome back to Book Club. And I'm not going to lie, I'm bummed that Maddie and I are not together anymore. We are back to remote podcasting for a limited period of time because we have the greatest news on this side of the world currently. And that is that
we're going to live together.
We're going to live together in 2 weeks. Can you believe that? 2 weeks. Maddie is moving in with me
for a short period of time.
1st.
But nonetheless, me and Carrie get to live out our roommate dreams. Plus Dylan.
Yeah. Plus Dylan, my boyfriend. He also lives here. But for those 3 months that Maddie's husband is doing
husband things.
Doing husband things. We're going to be living together.
We're going to be together. And every day is going to be a party.
Every episode of Book Club is going to be together. Every YouTube video is going to be together. Every post on Instagram is going to be together.
That's if we remember to post on Instagram, because y'all know when we're together, we do be forgetting to post.
No, but we're going to be grinding content. I'm going to sound like one of those boy podcasts. We are going to lock the
rich
fuck
dad,
in.
poor dad. We are locking in.
We're going to wake up and grind.
Content. It's 3 a.m. I'm shoving ice up my ass. Whatever they do. Whatever they do.
What? Well, at the end of the day,
what do you mean what?
This episode's not about what the boys do.
No, it's never.
This
about
episode is about what books have taught us about being a woman, about female friendships, about girlhood,
female
and
empowerment.
Overall, just the way that the rise of book talk and romance books and fantasy books, and also all the girls who have been into literature for their whole lives. Couldn't be me, but I respect them, because I didn't start reading till I was an adult. Sue me. And how they affect women nowadays, especially in the current climate that we live in. Yay. But no, it's going to be really fun. We're talking about all the things that we love about books and literature, because I will say, we've been seeing a lot on social media about people getting other book girls, book talkers, book Instagrammers, whatever.
Everybody's talking about how it's bad and toxic.
It's lately. Toxic and it's bad. And guys, I'm feeling like we're putting our, if you want to get on the internet and have female rage and anger, and that's totally fine. But
do it.
But why are we gearing it towards other women?
Why are we gearing it towards other women?
At the end of the day, this space, like book girlies and Bookstagram and any female-dominated space, specifically on the internet, not to say that Maddie and I are not the occasional hater here and there. Everybody's a hater here and there. But when it comes to female-dominated spaces and female communities, it's very important, and it is our responsibility to make sure that those spaces stay a safe place for women. And if you go in there and all the women start getting pitted against each other, it's just going to end up like every other place on the internet and in the world. And that's really what we're trying to avoid here. So I will say, as far as Book Club goes, as far as Read by MC, our Instagram goes, as far as Maddie and Carrie, our YouTube channel goes, we're not going to be turning on the women. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
We're not, we're not about to be like, no, this is toxic. We're not doing that.
Because if there's going to be anybody that's to blame, in my heart and in my soul, you guys know it's going to be a man.
Yeah.
I'm blaming the men.
And at the end of the day, women need community. And this is the last thing I'll say before we get into like our real points of things that books have taught us about women and girlhood, is that I went to a little creator event a week or so ago for Nami Matcha. And it was this fun little thing. It was like which is like the best matcha on the market. If you haven't had it, go get it. And it was this little home cafe thing that Ashley, the owner of the company, did. And it was the first creator event that I've been to that was fully dominated by women. There was 2 men there for 90% of the time, my boyfriend Dylan and Ashley's boyfriend there, and then like another guy showed up a little bit later. For the most part though, it was probably at least 15 women, if not 20 women, I don't know. And it was so incredible. There was like, everything was decorated. There was like a table laid out, a little paper with like pastries and strawberries and fruits, and everybody got to put little sticker gemstones on their plastic cups, and we all made matcha. And one of the girls there that I met was so sweet, and she had made this little cake, and it was like ruffly beautiful yellow cake, and we all got goodie bags, and everybody was talking, and nobody was competitive with each other, and nobody was trying to be like, well, how many followers do you have? And if you don't have an amount that they think is credible, sorry, there's a motorcycle man outside my house. I hate men. Oh my God.
You can't hear it.
But there was no competitive energy. Everybody was just talking to everybody. And if somebody wasn't as social, it wasn't competitive. It wasn't mean. It just came off as like, oh, they were probably shy. Let me go talk to them. And it was the most incredible experience at like a creator network party work event thing that I have ever been to. And I was like, after leaving there, I just had this overwhelming feeling of like, oh my gosh, like this is why Maddie and I are trying to do what we're doing, like to try and have this community on Bookstagram and on YouTube and with the podcast and everything. And it's like, oh, if women get together and they are supporting each other, that is the kind of environment that it brings. Like, it is so good and it's so fun and it's so fulfilling, like creatively. Like I went home and I felt so like hyped to get all my stuff done and to start new ideas, and also to like genuinely make connections and friends. And it truly just felt, I think it felt, at least the people that I made friends with, like I think it felt like that for everybody, and it was incredible. So the people being like, oh my God, like book talk is terrible, we're not doing this anymore. I'm like, well, guys, it's our community. We have the control to make it not that way.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do that. It doesn't have to be like Mean Girl Central.
Right. We can all just be nice to each other because and again, this is not to say that Carrie and I are not D1 haters sometimes. You guys know for a fucking fact. We've been there. We've done that. We do be, sometimes you need to be a little bit of a bitch. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You cannot like people's personalities. Sure.
Right. This is not to say that you have to like every single person that you've literally ever met, because that would be the pot calling the kettle black. I don't do that. I know Carrie doesn't do that. But it is to say that when you have a community, it is your part as much as your neighbor's part to make it a safe space and make it a good
and pollinate
space
your life.
And pollinate your life, you guys.
We've been having this bit that Maddie started, and it's this metaphor about how to live positively.
Because if you're a bee,
you lay it out, Maddie.
Right? So if you're a bee, right? So in this,
somebody cue the bee movie.
So you're a bee, and what you do as a bee is you have to pollinate your flowers, or else you will have no flowers, and then you will have no honey, and then your hive will be sad, and then you'll probably get kicked out of the hive because your queen bee is not putting up with that shit. So what you have to do, right, is that you have to pollinate. And if you go around stinging, you immediately die. So if you go into the situation with bad vibes, and if you go into the situation just out the gate trying to fight, trying to tussle, trying to whatever, you're probably going to die. So you do have to pollinate. You have to pollinate your flowers, and you have to have good things.
You have to work as a community. You have to go and you have to make an effort, and you have to interact with other people and make friends and try to see that if somebody makes you upset, benefit of the doubt. Okay? Give the other women in this space a chance. Don't immediately get on the offensive. And to bring us back to the point of this episode, that is the opposite of everything that the big book talk books and books that all these women love and that we all started doing this for just to talk about these books that is the opposite of what those books are telling women to do. And
Yeah.
that we're reading these characters and we're loving them and they're great, and then we're not really practicing that. And I feel like I'm a Southern Baptist preacher.
And you know, in theory, things always sound easier than in practice, and that is so true, because sometimes you meet someone and you're like, this bitch. Sometimes really you do. Sometimes really you do. And that's okay. But also pollinate, you guys.
But also
seriously?
try to focus on the positives, guys.
Yeah.
And that we made this space and we don't want to be the ones to self-destruct it. So I took a few notes.
Because that's what men do.
Going back into this country bit we've been doing.
God damn. We can't stop.
I took down
we
a few
cannot be
notes.
stopped.
One of, and these are not in any specific order, we're just going to be yapping for a little bit. One of the first things that I had thought of when thinking about this concept for this episode of the podcast of like, what are things that I learned or feel like have the book community has really influenced or really kind of, I don't know, taken by the reins and been like, oh, we're going to use this as like a staple of book release. And one of those things I think is music. We have had new artists come up. Like, oh, who's that girl who wrote the song The Hand? Every time a guy writes a song.
Anna. No, I don't know. Annabelle something, I think.
I don't know. I'll try to remember it. But her Paris Paloma, she has really shot up there in the charts. We've had an awakening of Florence and the Machine, of Aurora, of music that is very female-centric and very powerful, even to the point of... Did you find her name?
I did. Annabelle Dinda.
Yeah, her. Even to the point in, we've all seen this Sarah J. Maas on the Call Her Daddy podcast saying... Was that on there? Yes. Saying that she was listening to, like... Aurora when writing
K-pop Demon Hunters
and K-pop Demon Hunters, incredible, when writing, and like she was listening to music like this that's all on our Fantasy Girl playlist, like
so
listening
does
to that
Rebecca
kind of music
Yaros.
when
Rebecca
writing
Yaros is a huge one when writing her
when
books.
writing like the Starfall scenes, when writing the main ACOTAR books, when writing Crescent Cities, like same thing with like with Rebecca Yaros in Fourth Wing, like she's listening to Taylor Swift's Reputation album, which is incredible,
iconic,
and it is all very centered around incredibly strong women, and also this kind of like whimsical, like witchy,
matriarchal witchy vibe that we're bringing back. Do not let the bastards get you down. Bring back paganism.
Yeah, that's kind of what this, I feel like Book Talk has really, and like book communities have really influenced this kind of like, maybe, I mean, maybe these songs would have been written anyways. I know, like, obviously Aurora and Florence and the Machine have been writing like this for a long time.
Years.
But the popularity of this music, especially in like younger teenagers and stuff, like maybe they wouldn't have been listening to music like that growing up if it wasn't like, oh, get on Spotify and you look up any fantasy playlist, songs you're gonna hear. I Did Something Bad, Running with the Wolves, Dream Girl Evil, like
literally
you're hearing
Seven Devils, like you are hearing these very powerful women talk about very powerful badass things that they're doing, and that's how it should be. That's how it should be.
That we're reading, and
where
I don't
also
know, I think
the women are
really
powerful
cool.
and badass.
Yes, and as we all know, things like music and is like instruments, orchestras, music. At Timothy Chalamet, operas and ballets are extremely influential across the board. It is universal languages.
Yes.
And I think that is like, oh, okay, this is this era of women that are listening to this empowering music. And like I've seen clips from Paris Paloma concerts of people screaming her lyrics. And it's like, oh, I haven't been to one of her concerts. I want to.
The
because I bet to go to one of her
effervescence
shows
has to go crazy.
I truly think I'd levitate. I would levitate.
Genuinely.
I'd start coming. You know the way the Lorax goes up into the sky? That would be me.
Yeah.
Picking myself up by my ass.
Ass first in the air.
In the air.
Oh man. Oh my god, that's too fucking good.
Okay, another thing I wrote down was this, and this I had a few points that kind of go back to this, is books have a way, especially for women who are reading in their 20s or their 30s or 40s and 50s, anything above your
Who
teenage
cares?
years, really, when after your frontal lobe has developed, and any books that make you look back on
Your teenage years.
your teenage self, not even just your younger self, like your child self, like your teenage self, areas of your life that you might look back on and have really been like, oh god, that was terrible, I was terrible. A lot of women's like self-hatred and low self-esteem
And even internalized misogyny, I feel like,
and even internalized misogyny, yes, began,
or like really not even began, because I feel like some of those things really begin in childhood for women, but like it really comes out with vengeance in like 16, 15 to like 19. The internalized misogyny,
like
was
where
the
actions that it manifests itself in.
Yes.
Books really, a lot of the books that we've read make you kind of look back on that time and just feel a lot more compassion and sympathy, because I think everybody, when they read, even if you're not one of the people who read the main character as yourself or picture that character as yourself, you're seeing aspects of the characters that you can relate to.
Yeah.
And for us, like, we read Binding and Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh recently, and that book follows a 15/16-year-old girl and her friends, and it's a heavy book if you've read it. And it, like, there's moments in it where you just, even though the books are fiction and these characters are going through much heavier things than I went through as a child, it's still like some of the insecurities and the feelings are like so relatable that you're like, oh my god, I'm reading about this little girl as an adult that I feel so maternal towards, that I just want to take care of. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I've also felt that way, except when I think about myself, I hated her.
Yeah.
And I feel like it bridges connections in how you feel about yourself, especially as you continue to read. It's just like building on that, which in turn creates more confident, compassionate, empathetic women.
And I think that it also, like, with the rise of all of the things that we've been speaking of, with just the rise of like acceptable femininity, and even not femininity in the like patriarchal system way, but just like real femininity in all aspects, like the rise of that and that being accepted and accepting other women in every way, shape, and form is going to make us all better women, and then in turn make our daughters better women and their daughters better women. Because
yes,
I like, obviously we love our millennials, and I'm not going to say we love all boomers, because like that's for sure not true.
but there's even like, Gen X. We love our Gen X. We love our mothers. We love our sisters.
A lot of them have a lot of very like internalized misogyny that like, unfortunately, I'm not really sure that there's going to be any mass undoing, but it feels like starting with millennials and Gen Z, it really does feel like we're kind of starting to undo and unravel the terrible braid that was misogyny and hating other women just on the premise that it's another woman. And I cannot wait for a world where daughters, where 15, 16-year-olds are not like, there are things that I did in high school where I look back and I'm like, that was disgusting and cruel and unusual and like gross. I wish I like was nicer to other girls. And I think that you can obviously repent and you can make up for that later in your life, in your 20s and 30s. But it would be such a beautiful world if it was just acceptable to be a woman and to be a teenage girl, and other teenage girls accepted other teenage girls. How beautiful of a world.
Yeah. I feel like it's going through, when it comes to like Gen X and then millennials and then Gen Z, and kind of how a lot of women of those generations are shifting their perspectives. Books have even helped like my oldest sister is a millennial, and she's also been a big reader. And like in her later adult life, she spent most of her 20s not doing that. And I feel like it's almost creating like this like sieve effect where you're getting, I don't know if anybody's weird activity that I've done in my life, if anybody's ever like sieved in a river for like gold flakes or looked for diamonds at like in Arkansas. I went to Arkansas and I was like digging for diamonds at one of those things. And what they give you is a big tray and it's got like metal wires in it, and you scoop a fuck ton of dirt on top of it. And it's like really mineral heavy dirt, and then you shift and you put some water in there and you kind of shake it around, and then you get another one and it sinks to that one, and it's like a thinner grate, and you shake it around, and then finally, like as that goes, a lot of the dirt and debris gets washed away, and you can find crystals and diamonds and gold flakes and whatever. And
that's a really great analogy, Miss Girl.
Wow, thank you. If you haven't been to Arkansas to dig for diamonds, it's not, honestly, it's a good time. It's kind of the only thing you can do in Arkansas. And it's like, I'm hoping that that's kind of the pattern that's happening without it turning to like without losing the plot. If that can continue on with how, you know, millennials, even if they didn't do everything perfectly, they start to learn, and then they talk to the Gen Zs, and then they start to learn, and then they talk to the Gen Alphas, and then they start to learn. Like, I know at least between my mom and then me and my two sisters, and both of my sisters have daughters, I know that that's like kind of what we're trying to do, is take the things that we've learned, and even if we had to learn it the hard way, make it to where my nieces don't have to learn it the hard way. And giving, especially with something like books, where I have started to build this library of books that are about women and about their stories, and maybe they are a lot of romance, but there's also like character development in there that obviously I'm not recommending the smutty ones to my teenage niece, but there are books that I've read that I'm like, oh, like honestly, like my niece is 15. I feel like I could recommend her an Emily Henry book and be like, oh, you would love this. Oh man, my headphones just made the sound that they might die. I hope that doesn't happen.
Oh no.
If that happens, we might have to pause so I can get different headphones. But anyways, I feel like books are really, really, really beneficial in creating that little trickle down effect. Yeah. So that maybe, you know, if my niece is a little bit nicer to the girls in her school than I was, that's
much
a win.
Success. That's a win.
And if they can see other women in the book community and at outside and at events and at parties and doing things where they have groups of other women that they're also being nicer to, lead by example, that's extremely beneficial.
Taking little things from everyday life and adding in just like tiny micro feminist things that you don't think are going to make a huge difference, but it really does make a difference.
Yes. And then and this kind of leads into the next point that I had, where the authors that everybody loves, that are writing these books, the books are fiction. Yes, we are reading about magic and fairies and dragons and things that are not real, but the authors writing these storylines and these character plots and emotions, they're real. And they're writing from experience. Again, to the Call Her Daddy episode with Sarah J. Maas, she said many, many times, writing Feyre's like pregnancy struggles, she was pulling from personal experience. When writing Nesta's extreme mental breakdown in Silver Flames,
personal experience,
that was extremely personal experience.
And even like
Yaros,
having SJM talk like about that, like honestly changed my perspective, because you guys know we stayed shitting on Feyre's pregnancy.
Yeah.
We stayed shitting on Feyre's pregnancy, which, like, do I think a 22-year-old needs to be pregnant? I still stand on the fact that no, the fuck she doesn't.
She has forever. She's immortal.
Right. I still stand on that. But like knowing that SJM put her experience in it, I was like, oh, wow, that really has. Hey, wow, that really has changed my experience and like my outlook.
Yeah.
on the
it really
whole thing.
did. Because I got, I wasn't as like upset after a while just because I love Feyre so much. But I was like, dang, now we're going to have to hear about this baby that I don't care about. And the thing is, do I care about the baby yet? No. But the pregnancy journey that Feyre went through is extremely, like, Sarah J. Maas talking about that and like the life or death experience that she went through when giving birth to her sons. I was like, oh, it makes those, I can't wait to do a reread that everybody's going to be doing, because it makes those scenes like so much more impactful, and it makes you so much more introspective about like, oh, yes, we're reading about a fae world, but the reality of where these thoughts and feelings and emotions came from is that pregnancy and giving birth is a life or death situation. It is very like,
it's very traumatic.
Like she said, like Sarah J. Maas said, like if it had been 100 years ago, she would not have lived through giving birth. And I was just like, I don't know. I just feel like it gives like such a bigger weight to those situations. And what about Rebecca Yarros writing from the perspective of being a military wife, where she writes like, okay, these like the Fourth Wing books are definitely have darker, heavier, like less happy ending vibes than a lot of the ACOTAR Sarah J. Maas stuff does. And it's because a lot of the things that Rebecca Yarros focuses on is the reality of war. And how that is.
And how it's going to negatively impact literally everyone.
Yeah. There is no like closing your eyes and maybe it won't affect you. Like she's like all these female authors that everybody loves, they're writing from personal experience. I think to be a good writer that really impacts people, you have to be able, any type of artist, you have to be able to pull from personal experience or learned lessons or emotions that you've gone through or are going through. It's a creative outlet for a reason. So to write off books like they're just smutty or it's just romance and there's no plot points. I'm like, oh, have you never been in love before? Is that not an emotion that you experience in your real life? Have you never had a heartbreak? Have you never wanted to be around a woman? Is that what you're telling me? Oh, okay.
Also, like making stories accessible and easily understandable does not inherently make them bad or less than.
Yes.
And that's something that I feel like is very like common is like, if we're making it pink and cute and we're making it like, if we're packaging it in a way that's like fun and whatever, like it immediately takes away the substance from it. And I just like wholeheartedly disagree with that. Like,
yes,
how Taylor Swift said it many years ago, I want to wear pink and tell you how I feel about politics. You should be able to do those things. Doing one does not immediately negate the other.
And if you think about it logically, like on paper, that doesn't make any sense. Being like,
no, genuinely,
it looks too pink. It's literally on the fucking color wheel. What are you talking about?
Pink equals bad because it equals woman.
Pink equals bad. And I think that's another thing that books have really, and when I say books, like I'm talking about like literature and specifically the female book community that it's created with like romance books and romantasy. Because starting in like, I think like 2021, it really started a movement. It really brought Barnes & Noble out of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And I think
real
that like
things
being
happen
able
when women are the
get behind
leaders
it.
And women, and I think maybe it was Harry Styles who said like said a quote in like an interview, and he was like, no, women decide what's cool. And women
Yeah.
do decide what's cool. It really is up to us. If we say it's cool, you see, like, we decided reading was cool. Oh, suddenly Barnes and Noble is one of the biggest companies again. Like,
Yeah.
like we have real
And I
effects
think-
on the stock market and real thing. I mean, the stock market is fake, but like we have real effects on real things.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, men, like to diminish things that we like because, well, I don't know why. That's a
yeah.
good question.
And I think too that's why it's so important. And a lot of these books really, especially Sarah J. Maas, specifically Throne of Glass, really hammers this in, is female community, female friendships, and the
Yes.
value that brings to other women's lives and the things that you learn from those. Like, these books are not just like, oh, I'm sitting down and I'm reading in solidarity. I'm reading them, and then that's why Maddie and I started the podcast, why BookTube even exists, why Book Talk even exists, is because people read a book and then wanted to talk about it with other women.
Yeah.
Because then you share, oh, how did you feel about this? Oh, what experience did you relate this to? Oh, I also had something like this, and this is how this made me feel. And oh yeah, me too, because this happened to me. And it builds a community. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts, in every heart that I could ever have, possibly ever, in every lifetime, that women need that. Like, you have to have other women around you.
Yeah. No,
And
we need the
Throne of
people-
Glass really hammers that in.
the people, the women, me, Carrie, most everybody I know, the people, the kids, the community yearns for matriarchy. We yearn for matriarchy. We yearn for community. We need it.
Yeah.
We need it.
We need it. We need it, and we need it to pollinate, because you know what? Beehives, they're mostly women.
Matriarchy.
They kick the men out in the wintertime because they're like, I don't want to feed this guy. He's really
No.
taking up space.
Elephant herds. I don't know if they have a name, but the elephant groups, matriarchal.
I feel like it's a mosh, like a mosh of elephants. You know?
Are you making that up, or is that scientific?
I think so. Let me see. What is a group of elephants called? Because I just feel like sometimes there's groups of animals and their group name, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like a group of geese, a gaggle. That makes sense.
Okay. I'm not
a
so
group
sure.
of a group of crows, a murder of crows. Spooky.
See, that makes sense.
Yes.
That
What
also
is
makes
a
sense.
group
Group of elephants.
elephants called?
Elefantes.
Oh. Well, this one's kind of boring. It's just a herd.
Okay, so I was right. A herd of elephants. Also matriarchal.
Well, I like a mosh better.
okay.
A mosh.
A
of
mosh of elephants.
I don't know. I think that's
we
more
need
fun.
that. We need that.
Yep.
Oh God, I yearn for female community. I yearn for women
Yes.
to
And
constantly
another
be
thing
around.
that I feel like, and I know that we get on our high horses about this all the time, but it's because it's important and it makes sense and it is important to women and our well-being, is that obviously one of the biggest talked about topics when it comes to books is the romance and the spice and the smut happening in these books. But if I'm being so completely honest, I would rather read, like, if I could go back to my high school days, public ghetto ass high school in Texas, where we're 48th in education in the country, maybe lower than that. Everything, my personal sex education that I had
didn't exist.
was like, didn't exist.
I didn't
Abstinence,
get-
abstinence or you die. What is
Literally.
that scene from what is it? Is it in Superbad or is it in Mean Girls?
Probably
Where
Mean
there's
Girls.
the teacher and he's saying like, he's like, you do this, you get pregnant and you die. And like, that was kind of the equivalent to what the sex education was in my school. If I had been reading like ACOTAR in 2016, and if an adult had been like, hey girl, maybe read this book, and I could have learned about sex that way, compared to, obviously that is not obviously that is not like medical professional sex education, but if I had to compare it to
what
looking
we
back
were?
at what I was learning as a teenager, I would have been so much better off if I had gotten my like the information
Also,
of
it's like
sex from
genuinely
books.
Yeah. It is genuinely stupid to believe that children are not looking at the internet for
Yes.
sexual interactions. I'm not going to say the whole word, but like, you guys know.
Yeah.
Like, it is dumb. It is very, very stupid and dumb to think that children
It's
are not
ignorant.
going out. Right. Like, you're lying to yourself if you think that children, or teenagers specifically, are not going out and looking for the things that they need to know about. It is better to teach them,
Yes,
honestly, truthfully, than to let them learn from sites
random
that should
things
be
they see on the internet.
restricted from children, like sites that should not
Yeah.
be easily accessible, and that really are easily accessible.
Oh my
Like,
God. And it's
it's-
only getting easier.
No, and it's only getting worse. Because now
Yeah.
they have things like Andrew Tate saying like, oh, and oh God, I don't even know that kid's name, who like is for sure in the closet and is pissed about it. He hates women so bad. Nick Fuentes, that little shit stain. Fuck that guy. But now they have like Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate being like, fuck women, you guys. Whoa, hey, what? No, if we could give them books instead, that would be
Well, and I was talking to my sister that has a teenage daughter, and we were talking about it too, like, and this is not just with books too, it's like music, where it's like, oh, like Sabrina Carpenter, very popular, obviously. She sings very about things like she's
Suggestive.
horny on Maine constantly.
Right.
And and my sister was like, honestly, I would rather my daughter learn about at least learn about sex from other women instead of
Right.
like some random boy that you're dating at 16 who's like, come on, just do it, just do it, just what
Just
if you just
69.
did it?
Just 69. Just 69. It's not even that big of a fucking deal.
Yeah, and
And
it's
meanwhile, you don't even know what
traumatizing.
69 is.
Yeah. And it's like, but if I had like reading the intimate like the amount that books have taught me in my adult life about intimacy and relationships and how
Women should be
there
centered.
can be, yes, how you should center yourself. Women should value themselves, should put themselves in the center of their own world. You should be the main character of your own life, because if
Yeah.
you're making somebody else the main character of your own life, you are wasting your time, because I guarantee you they are if you're trying to make a man the main character
Ew.
of your life, then now
Pause.
there's two lives where he's the main character.
There are two shows where he's the main character, and let's be honest, there shouldn't even be one.
No, literally.
Cut the cameras.
And I genuinely think, like, even when it comes to like internalized misogyny and a lot of women's view on masculinity and toxic masculinity and things that you don't even see until you're reading about it, again, from an author in the middle of their life, in their 40s, 30s and 40s, writing about these, and have had successful marriages, have had failed marriages, have had failed relationships. And maybe you don't have a female figure in your life that you can openly talk to. If I was 18 and I had been able to read books like this, I would have been like, oh, so this is how a big macho, strong, protective man, even if he's a fairy, can still treat a woman like, this is what it looks like to be treated as an equal person and as
Right.
a person in general.
and as a person and
And-
not an object.
And they can still be like, oh, it's like, oh, this is masculinity, not toxic masculinity.
Yes.
And this is intimacy, not just sex.
Yeah.
Because there is a difference.
Right.
And one requires emotional intelligence, which is why it cannot be compared to other things on the internet.
Other things on the internet. No, literally.
Yeah. And I think I really think like reading books like that, yes, it's fun. Obviously, it's sexy hot because we're not living under rocks, but also
it is important.
changed my life. It's changed so many women's lives.
Also, it's like very important. Like men have always been able to openly talk about sex and openly talk about desires and openly talk about XYZ. They've been able to literally talk about whatever the fuck they want for however long that the earth has literally existed. And when women talk,
they've just been able to talk.
Right.
Period.
God, Jesus Christ, my worst nightmare. Cut it out. But like when a woman, like I notice this with like other women that, not Carrie, but like other women, it'll be like, it's just that time of the month. Oh my God, just say you're on your you could rip your tampon out in front of me.
Yes.
Dangle it bloody, baby. I don't care.
I think we've all had this experience, especially in high school, when you're on your period and you go into the girls' bathroom where there's other girls in there, and you're like peeling the tampon
trying to be as quiet
the pad
as you can.
open as quietly as possible, which I will say they are so loud. You'd think it was like a fucking semi truck rolling down the hallway. Like, they're so loud.
Yeah.
They put speakers in the wrapper, but you're sitting there and you're trying to peel back the pad wrapper. Hey girl, rip that shit open. We're all girls in here. It don't matter.
It don't matter.
Just rip it open.
Also,
oh my God, I can tell she's on her period. Okay.
Who cares?
What are they going to do?
Oh no, she bled through her pants. Yeah.
No, and I think about that too, because again, if I had, yes, a lot of the content in the books that we read are adult content. Like, these are adult books, a lot of them anyway. And even still, if I were to compare it to the things I was actively learning in middle school and high school, I would obviously prefer professional, good education.
Right.
But if we're comparing it to what I was actually learning in a Southern Texas public school, I mean, in middle school, there were plenty of girls who would be on their periods or they would bleed through their pants, and everybody just made fun of her.
Right.
Whatever, like, multiple times. This happened to multiple girls. And it was like, obviously, like, those were some things that, like, not in my household. My mom would have whooped my ass.
Oh, my mom would have
like
killed
that.
me.
But there were so many women, and even then, like, even in high school, there were moments where I was like, damn, I look back and I'm like, I wish I had been so much less male-centered. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, oh, there were girls just making fun of her. And it was like, okay, yeah, but what if it happened to you?
Right.
And if I had been reading, if I had had books, if I had been reading stories like this, I would have been like, oh, wow, this is a really special way of thinking. This is a really special friendship.
Also, like, the amount of SJM talked about this in Call Her Daddy, and like the amount of times that like Elide got her period, and like, oh, what if you get your period during battle? Like what happens when you get your period? Whatever. Like, she incorporated monthly cycles into her books.
Yes.
And I think it's so important because never once did you hear anybody shame Elide. Never once did Lorcan say that's gross. Never once did Rowan say, ew. Never once did, like, Fenris, Rowan, Lorcan, like, none of these guys were saying, like, ew, gross. The amount of teenage boys that are like, oh, gross periods. It's not gross.
And it's like, oh,
gross. And
it's like girls are so pretty natural. And women are so awesome until they're on their period, and that's really gross. But then they're off really it, they're back to being pretty and cool. You're pretty and cool the whole time.
You're pretty and cool the whole time. You're pretty and cool.
That doesn't
always
go away just because you're on your period.
Right.
And also, too, it's like reading books where it's like, and I think this is, obviously there's nothing wrong with like celebrating regular everyday things that women go through and being like, oh, look at how strong and incredible you are, and really highlighting it. But also, sometimes that can just be exhausting. And a lot of, like in Throne of Glass, when Sarah J. Maas writes about Elide, they're not like boasting about Elide being on her period. It's matter of fact.
It's just happening.
It's a way of life. It doesn't need to be talked about as like constantly. Right. It doesn't need to be a constant struggle that she's talking through and working through. She talks more about her fucked up ankle than she does her period. She's like, oh man, I'm on my period again. And then there's just Lorcan rips his shirt up and now she has pads. She's like, okay, great. Thank you for that. And it's not, or like if somebody's like, oh, I can tell, like I couldn't think of a specific moment, but I know there are moments in SJM books where they're like, I can tell you're on your cycle. And it's not shameful, it's not shy, it's not, but it's also not excited. Oh my God, and I'm letting you know that I'm here for you. It's like, oh hey, I can tell you're on your cycle. Here
this
you go.
is just something that happens to women. Period. Happens. Like move. Like
it doesn't. It's like the same way that I can say, oh, I have to go pee, and nobody's like, oh
yes, yeah.
And I think that's like, oh,
even shitting has been like something that like men,
all
like,
them watery bowels.
Women don't poop. No, my brother in Christ. Not only do I shit, my shits are gonna stink worse than my husband's. Like
also, I know we all joke
shitting.
about. I know we joke about like Feyre having constant IBS
diarrhea
issues, but it's like not only is Feyre shitting, she's having diarrhea every day.
She's just like me for real.
And I will say, even with Nesta, I know we've made jokes about this before. Not only is Nesta pissing, she's pissing her pants.
She's pissing in her panties when there's a scary man. Fucking valid. Fucking valid. Fucking valid. God.
Yeah, and then
it's so funny.
And honestly, I have 2 points left, and we'll kind of wrap it up because we're about 45 minutes here. This is the shorter point is that, and the more fun one, I guess, is that books have really brought back the fangirl in me, and I think in a lot of women. There was a period of time when I was probably 15 that, with the exception of One Direction and Taylor Swift, I decided that fangirling was no longer cool. I decided, like, Maddie and I were the biggest The Fault in Our Stars fans in 8th grade. We went to, when the movie came out, like, we skipped school one day. We made t-shirts, we made signs, like handmade t-shirts,
to go
like
to the
Tumblr
press
tied
tour
on the sides. We went to the press tour for the book and saw the cast yippity yapping about the about the book
and shit our pants. Genuinely, like, did backflips.
Yeah.
It was like
we were freaking out.
But
and
then
I got to high school.
Day, like, I look back on that and I'm like, oh, what a fun day.
Incredible
what a fun time.
And when I got to high school, I don't know. I just decided,
it just wasn't cool.
It's not cool. I don't actually like care like that much. Like I was a big musical theater fan, but I was like, oh, like, I mean, like, whatever. Meanwhile, I'm in my room belting the entire soundtrack of Wicked. And then I go to school and I'd be like, oh, like, I don't even really, like, I don't know. I don't really, like, listen to that. Like, I don't really listen to music that often. What the hell?
Also, I think
so
like,
lame and boring.
Something that, like, being a fangirl, but also just, like, liking what you want to like, because I always felt like in high school specifically, I was an athlete, but I was also in, like, choir. And I really wanted to fit in with the theater kids, but I didn't know theater like that. And I really fucked heavy with Hamilton, but I didn't feel like I fucked heavy enough to where I could, like, talk to them about it, because it was always like, oh, well, do you actually know about this? And it was like, oh, you're being quizzed. One time I wore a Nirvana shirt and I genuinely listened to Nirvana because I went through a little phase. And, like, I genuinely listened to Nirvana every single day, and I wore a Nirvana shirt, and it's like, oh, do you even know a Nirvana song? Okay, first of all, if I didn't, who cares? You can just like things because you fucking like things. And, like, second of all, I do know Nirvana songs, so get the fuck off my ass. Like,
it's like when Taylor Swift said that anybody who makes you feel bad for enjoying
liking
something
things.
And being excited about something, like, that's one of the worst things you can do.
That's really lame. Like, you can just like things and you don't have to know every single thing about that thing to like it. Like, and there are plenty of people who know more about books and know, like, really do deep dives into ACOTAR and Throne of Glass and, like, really, really know about all of these things. And
it's like when there's things where it's like, oh, certain books that people one of like the most fun conversations to have with another girl who likes to read is like, oh my gosh, have you read this book series?
Yes.
And if they say no, it's not like, oh, it's like, oh my gosh,
oh my gosh,
you have
let me
got
tell you
to
about
read
it.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
gonna tell you everything. It's gonna change your life. Do you want me to reread it with you? Can we do this together? Do you want to see my Pinterest mood board? Do you want to see my playlist that I based off of this series?
Yeah.
And it's like so welcoming, which is again going back to everybody being like, it's a toxic space. I'm like, it's not toxic if
it does
you
not have to be.
don't let it be.
Right.
It
I refuse to let
communities of women don't have to be that way if you don't let it be that way, if you don't get competitive. Because what are you fighting over? What are you arguing
what are
about?
we arguing over, guys? Who cares?
Relax.
Let women enjoy things. If you like literary fiction and you want to read very buttoned up literature and classic literature,
great.
read it. But that doesn't mean you get to pull down and put down other girls who might not want to read that. If you want to read just smutty, dark romance, read it. That doesn't make the literature girlies like bad. Like, just read what you enjoy, do what you like, and lift each other up. Because if there's one thing, we don't need to tear each other down, because men are going to try to do that to us anyways.
Yep. We've got enough of that coming on anyway.
Right.
And I think for the final point that I have, and we won't sit on this for very long, but it's to like wrap things up. It is also this kind of like reading about characters like Aelin and Nesta and Feyre and Bryce and Danica. She's a good one. We haven't really talked about her much. Danica in Crescent City, like they're all extremely complicated female characters who have done really good things and have done some bad things or some questionable things or reacted in ways that we didn't always love or like. Or even in older literature, Maddie and I were talking earlier about Little Women and how a lot of people relate to Jo, a lot of people relate to Amy, a lot of people relate to, I can't ever remember the oldest sister's name, but the Emma Watson girl. Yet at the same time, all of those sisters have done things here and there that you're like, oh, I don't really love that, or I don't really like that, because women and humans in general, but women have been like, they don't have to be perfect all the time. You don't have to know everything about everything. You don't always have to have the right answer. You don't always have to react good. You can react bad. Right. You can say mean things. You can do mean things. You can
make
still be
really terrible, heinous mistakes and say really terrible, heinous things. That doesn't make you a bad person.
Yeah. And it's like this mindset of like, oh, your purpose as a woman is to be good and to be liked and have a completely clean moral slate. And that is so impossible to maintain that it creates this like eagerness to compete with other women and to be better. And, oh, I'm actually on my moral high ground because of this, because I actually don't do that. Maddie and I will be the first to say, we've said some shit things. We've done some shit things. I'm definitely the villain in a lot of people's stories. But also, I'm a light and a incredible loving person to be around in most other people's stories. You're not going to do things perfectly, and reading about female characters that aren't just the basic tropes of like, oh, she's a mother, oh, she's the hardcore business boss lady who everybody's intimidated by, or she's a superhero and she's incredible and she's never done anything wrong and she's gotten crazy
she's
powers.
Not like other girls though,
and she's not like other girls and can also be one of the boys. Like, it's this combination of like, oh, when reading Crescent City, I love Danica's character, and there's also some moments where I'm like, fuck, Danica, why would you do that? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean I love her any less, but she's also not perfect. And it's so important to read about characters that you're not gonna be a perfectly good person all the time.
Right. Women are very
That's
magical,
impossible.
But that doesn't make us any less human.
Yeah.
We are still human.
I don't know,
at
I
the end
think
of the day.
That's one of the biggest things with especially like new age like addiction to books like this, is that it's like, oh, women get to read about characters, like specifically Nesta, and it's like, oh, Nesta did a lot of shitty things. Like, she's kind of the extreme character in that regard. Like, she did a lot of shitty things.
Right.
But she also has this beautiful friendship with the Valkyries. And these are all three, Emery and Gwen, are completely different from each other, from all three of them, completely different backgrounds. But they were able to make
come
this
together.
deep friendship and bring out this side of Nesta that is soft, and that's girlhood. That sleepover scene they have, that's girlhood. Meanwhile, at the same time, yeah, she's gonna tumble down 500 stairs to get drunk and scream at her sister. Okay,
The duality of women.
the duality of women. And I think that it's incredible.
I do too. I agree.
Reading has truly changed our lives.
Yes.
All that to say,
It has. All that to say,
Reading is
support your
incredible.
local women.
all that to say, pollinate your life.
Pollinate your life,
Pollinate your
people.
Go out there,
Pollinate.
be the bumblebee that you want to see in the world.
No stinging, or else you will die.
No stinging, just pollinating. Flower to flower, baby.
Flower to flower.
We're going to put that on a t-shirt. Flower to flower, pollinate your life.
Flower to flower, pollinate your life. Tulip to tulip. That's what I'm talking about.
And on that note, thanks for coming to book club, guys.
Thanks for coming to book
Follow
club.
us on everything. Should I get my announcer voice on? Follow us on everything, on Instagram, on listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Join our book
we
club
post
on Fable.
Join our book club on Fable. Right now we're about to read a thriller, or like this month's book is a thriller. So yeah, go over there, follow that, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. Love ya.
Love ya.